you're like me, you like to give your brother a hard time about nearly everything, and one of the things I complain often about is Darren's love affair with certain weeds out there. And he'll say, oh, this weed looks so pretty. And I just say, it's a weed. I want to control it. And
Brian's giving me a hard time because I was at the florist and I was getting a nice arrangement for my wife. And I happened to look at the arrangement and I said, wait a minute. I can't pay for that. And they're like, what? This is exactly the flowers that you talked about. Well, they happened to put perennial pepperweed in as a decoration. And I said, look, I'm great with roses and stuff. That's fine. But perennial pepperweed, come on, if I get that at home, that's going to cost us thousands of dollars to kill.
Yep, so our weed of the week is perennial pepperweed, otherwise known as green pepperweed. It is, as the name suggests, a perennial plant, so it is kind of difficult to control. It's got a big root system a lot of times, and you'll usually find it along the edges of fields where you have water problems. So if your crop didn't grow very well, or let's say it's out in a pasture or something like that, you have issues where the grass isn't real thick, you let it get grazed down too low, you have problems with this pepperweed. It does well in wetter conditions.
Well, a lot of times you'll see it along rivers and streams and this kind of stuff, and when you do get some flooding, you may say, oh, I never have that weed, and all of a sudden, boom, it pops up. And here's why you need to pay attention with pepperweed. If you get out there the first year when it's just getting going, it doesn't get that root system established just yet, and you can do a good job controlling it. What we like to use is 2,4-D. You may need to do it 2 or 3 times out there because it is a perennial weed. Just use a good strong rate of 2,4-D, you can wipe it out.
There are some other things in pastures or something like that, Tellar, Escort, Arsenal. It's not a real common weed out there. We don't have big problems with it in crop. If you had it in, let's say, corn, you could use something like Clarity or Distinct or Status. In soybeans, I'd probably use a high dose of Roundup, but it's generally not a problem in crop ground.
Well, keep green pepperweed out of your floral arrangements and out of your fields. That's it for this week's Weed of the Week. We'll be right back with more Ag PhD after this. Well, as this year's late harvest wraps up, now it's time to sort through what happened out in the field and make sense of it so you can make some changes going into the next year. One of the new equipment things that we tried this year was using satellite imagery. And there's a few things that you can do when you look back at satellite pictures throughout the year. For us, looking at satellite imagery to see what's happening during the months of the summer is as important, if not more important, than looking at some of the yield maps that you'll look at the end of the year. It's one thing to see, okay, I had a problem in this area, but it's another to start diagnosing when it happened during the year so you can start making some changes. For example, on our farm, we saw problem areas where we couldn't get things planted in the spring, and the satellite images showed just exactly where all those spots are at, and places that we lost to flooding or drowning out during the early part of the season. And it's great to look back at those pictures and say, look, this is exactly where we need to do some drainage tile or to improve things out in our field. Maybe you see some patterns out in the field on the satellite images that go at an angle across your field, right where your tillage went last spring when it was a little too wet to be out there. It's good to look at those things too and figure out going into the next year what you can change. So if you're looking for things that you can spend a little bit of money on and get a pretty good return, looking at satellite imagery of your farm may be one of those bets. That's it for today's Iron Talk, and now back to the show.
Micronutrients are not optional for your plants, they are essential. And TJ Micromix is essential to complete your fertilizer program. TJ Micromix is increasing yields on corn, soybeans, wheat, and alfalfa like no other micronutrient product. Call your fertilizer dealer today to secure TJ Micromix. By the way, TJ Micromix is a great complement to our latest product release, Quick Roots. TJ Micromix, it's the little things that make a big difference.
Hefties don't fool around. End of story.
Hi, I'm Jeff Wensman of Wensman Seed. Corn growers have a tremendous profit opportunity in 2008. Wensman leads the way to bigger yields next season with the introduction of our 10 new YieldGuard VT3 triple hybrids in our best genetics. These hybrids range in maturity from 80 day to 107 day. Try Wensman's powerful YieldGuard VT3 triple stack hybrids and make more money on your farm in 2008.
In today's marketplace, maximizing your harvest is more valuable than ever. Improve the efficiency of your operation by adding a Prairie air reel to your harvester today. A continuous stream of high-velocity air quickly feeds crop back to the auger, getting your crop off the cutter bar and into the header. This minimizes shattering and reduces the amount of header loss. At harvest time, every second counts and every bean counts, so you can count on Prairie.
So, you were busy farming last week and missed Ag PhD? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Visit our website at agphd.com and catch up on anything you missed. Just click Watch Ag PhD online, and you can catch up on the Weed of the Week, the Ag Minute, and all the great agronomic topics from our show. We know watching Ag PhD is your second favorite thing to do. When it's time to farm, you've got to farm. We've made viewing Ag PhD easier and more convenient, so you can always fit us into your busy schedule. Check us out at agphd.com. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show, but be sure to join us again next time for another Weed of the Week, farm basics, and a whole lot more. I'm Darren Hefty.
And I'm Brian Hefty. Thanks for watching Ag PhD.